You may have seen several videos claiming that growing your portfolio from 0 to 100,000 is hard, but growing it from 100,000 to 1,000,000 is easy. Well, if you want to see some real results, then stay tuned because I've been following this journey for over 16 years. And from my own results, I'll tell you if I've found this to be true or not, and if someone has been telling you a load of porky pies. Now, I've not reached 1,000,000 yet, but I'm more than halfway there. At the time of this video, my share portfolio stands at £630,000, and I'll reveal exactly how long it took me to reach each £100,000 increment all the way to £600,000. And if you stay to the end, I'll make a prediction on when my portfolio might finally reach 1,000,000. And if you like the sound of that, then please hit the like button as it really helps out the channel. This is not investment advice, so please do your own research. First of all, let's look at why building wealth is believed to get easier over time. We will start with an example of someone beginning their journey by investing £10,000 per year into an index tracking ETF, such as the S&P 500. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned over 10% per year, but with management charges and inflation baked in, let's take a conservative compounding rate of 7% per year. Now, the key to compounding is always to reinvest any dividends you receive and don't take money out of your portfolio. In our example of putting £10,000 a year away into the stock market, it would take 8 years to grow your portfolio to £100,000 based on historical data. But how long would it take to reach 1,000,000? Well, you might think it would take in the region of 80 years, but this is not the case because of the magic of compounding. Your portfolio will not be increasing in a linear manner, but it will be more like a snowball growing in size exponentially as it gathers more snow. As we have seen in this example, it took 8 years to grow from 0 to 100k. After 13 years, we reached 200k, and 300k is reached after 17 years. Let's look at the time it took to reach these increments. From 0 to 100k took 8 years, investing 10k a year and allowing it to compound. From 100k to 200k it took 5 years. And from 200k to 300k it took around 4 years. You can see how the money snowball grows as the magic of compounding does its thing. And after 31 years you would have reached the £1,000,000 mark. Now, although your portfolio has reached 1,000,000, you haven't invested 1,000,000, of course. The actual amount you have put in is just over 300,000, and compound interest has done all the heavy lifting for you to reach the magic million. Now, this is all theoretical, of course, with so many assumptions being made. Perhaps in reality it's not actually as easy as it seems. Let's have a look at what could stop your snowball growing before it's even got into gear. Firstly, there are stock market crashes and bear markets. Since 1870 in the US, there has been no fewer than 19 separate bear markets, where companies have lost 20% or more of their value. Although markets do tend to go up and reach new highs given enough time, the short-term impact of crashes can be quite frightening. At the start of the pandemic, my own portfolio fell in value from 230k to 170k in what seemed like a few days. Secondly, there are big expenses at certain points in our lives, and you may need to sell your whole portfolio or at least some of it to finance the expense. And this, of course, could seriously impact your compounding journey. We may have good intentions of allowing our portfolios to grow undisturbed, but then life often gets in the way and ruins our investing plans. For example, you may need money at some point to put down a deposit for a house. In England, the average first-time house deposit is over £68,000. You may just think that getting your foot on the property ladder and having your own little castle is more of an immediate financial priority. And what if you need to find money for a wedding? The average cost of a wedding in the UK is £23,000 according to a recent survey. And there is obviously the possibility of having children, and they don't come cheap. In the UK, the average cost of a child from birth to 18 years of age is a staggering £223,000 on average. Now, the current probability of divorce in the UK is 2 marriages in every 5, and of course divorces can have a severe financial impact. The list of things which could stop the snowball in its tracks are literally endless. Here is a list of some more. There are expensive holidays, major house repairs, replacing your car, losing your job, and vet and medical bills. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There are times in life when our income can receive a boost and we can then put more into the stock market and our money will grow faster. You might get promotion at work or move to a higher paying job, and there is the possibility of receiving a windfall, for example from a lottery, premium bonds, or an inheritance. There can of course be favourable market conditions which can accelerate the growth of your portfolio, such as a bull market, which is a period of time when stock prices increase by 20% or more from their last long-term low point. Since 1957, when the S&P 500 launched, there have been a total of 12 bull markets, roughly once every 5 years on average. So what about my own investing journey, and how has that gone so far? And how long will it take before I reach the magic million? Before we get started, just a quick reminder that if you want to start your own portfolio, then Trading 212 will give you a free fractional share worth up to £100 if you sign up using my link in the video description. Well, I started my journey in 2009 when I was finally debt-free, including paying off the mortgage. I'm not a particularly high earner and I've a very ordinary job in the education sector, but I still managed to pay off the mortgage in 10 years. To see exactly how I managed this, then I'll leave a link at the top, and if you are interested in watching that particular video. Now, in 2009, things were very different. There were no investing smartphone apps and my choice was limited. The platform I chose was Barclays Smart Investor. They were actually called Barclays Stockbrokers in those days. I was not allowed to buy overseas individual stocks, and ETFs were not mainstream. I hadn't even heard of them until many years later, so I therefore grew accustomed to buying shares in UK large cap companies such as these. Then later on I added a range of ETFs such as these for diversification and to reduce risk. Most of my investments are protected from tax within a stocks and shares ISA. So that I don't have to sell my shares and negatively impact the compounding process, I use premium bonds as my emergency fund. The amount I invest each month varies depending on what my other expenses are. At the start of my journey, my initial plan was to invest between £500 and £1,000 a month. But that increased as the years went by. Wages do tend to rise over time. It really helped being debt-free to begin with and allowed me to focus on the compounding process without other financial distractions. The average amount I've invested over the last 16.5 years is £1,500 a month. So let's look at how long it took me to reach each £100,000 increment to see if it really does explode after £100,000, like everyone keeps telling us. Don't forget you can keep up to date with my investing journey by clicking on the subscribe button. That's all there is to do. My first 100,000 was reached in 2013, about 4 years after investing, but it didn't get any faster at this stage. It took another 4 years to reach 200k, and it took nearly 5 years to reach the next milestone of 300k, but then it started to take off. You can see that the time taken to rise from 400 to 600k is around 2 years. The total amount of money from wages I've put into the portfolio from the start is 300k. Now, how long will it take to reach the magic million? Well, obviously I don't know for sure, as the market can be very volatile. But to give us some idea and take this with a big pinch of salt, I've extrapolated the data using a polynomial curve. And I've drawn a line down from the £1 million mark. And my prediction is September of 2027. But as I say, this is basically just guesswork, and the stock market can be so unpredictable, especially in short time frames. So my conclusion to all this is yes, building wealth does get easier and faster as time goes by. And yes, you will hopefully see a point when it does really take off, but this doesn't always happen at 100,000 or 200,000. You can't put a number on it as the market is so unpredictable. However, if you just keep going and take one step at a time, you may get there in the end. Many investors will have done much better than me, of course, and will have reached the £1 million mark much sooner. As I've already shown, I started investing in UK shares, but what would my portfolio now be worth if I had invested in other assets instead right from the start? To see that video, then prepare to be shocked after you click here. I'll see you over there.